When you use Facebook Marketplace as much as I do, you come across a pretty interesting parade of characters, and I say this absolutely as one such character. The lovely gentleman who sold me these glass blocks described them like this. I mean, he included a good photo of them and I knew exactly what I was going to pick up, but I just find Fred's description so fascinating. Like Ziwe once said, I appreciate his commitment to his own idea of reality. But no shade, no shade. Fred is who Fred is, although he doesn't look a lot like his profile picture. It's probably just a mix-up at Facebook headquarters. I'm genuinely really grateful that he gave me these blocks that his parents had been harboring in their backyard since like the 80s. You know, he generously offered me the advice to wait till my husband got back from work to unload the blocks for me. Well, you know, poor Fred. What he doesn't understand is that I can summon the strength to punt a car across a football field if it's a means to executing one of my art projects. But he's a good guy, I'm sure. Listen, it's clear I have beef with Fred. God damn it, Fred. There's a forest growing out of this crate with monsters living in it. But I don't hold any grudges. I'm over it. Glass blocks are really effective for lamp construction because their light scattering structure diffuses and refracts light before. Okay, whatever. Let's do a pros and cons list of Fred. Cons. Fred is using a different dictionary from the rest of us. Made me drive 2 hours in the car with worms, did not compliment my dog print car blanket, and unprofessional communication style. Now pros. I'm gonna be fair. He doesn't care much about counting or finances, just like me. He did load the blocks into the car. He's into organic packaging, and he has a strong artistic vision, even if it's not exactly my style. I have genuinely no idea what this video is about. Oh yes, lamp. Alright everyone, I want you to buddy up. You didn't have a partner? Before we go downstairs and turn my basement from this into this, I'm gonna use the upstairs to force you to listen to my lighting philosophies, which I have gradually become a complete zealot about. Okay, so at least like once a week, I have a minor meltdown about being logged out of my light bulbs. Some would call this humanity folding in on itself. I call it a keen eye. I think the reason I'm so picky about how the lights are configured is because I'm running away from my past. There was this dreary 2-ish month period right after we bought this house when the sun used to set at 4 p.m. And every single day for weeks and weeks, we'd have long days and then we'd trek on over here to do renovations till like 1 a.m. And we did it with the house looking like this. Round of applause for our lovely little tour guide. So fast forward a year, and when I come home after work and I find that at the end of the hallway there's not a beautifully illuminated bathroom, I'm taken right back to last year. It's past midnight. My hands look like gloves filled with water because they're so swollen from painting. My lungs are filling up with the dead skin cells of the Watson family erupting from the old wall-to-wall carpet every time I take a step. Wait, why is my hair flying about like I'm in a music video? Oh, it's just a breeze coming in through a leaky window on a lovely 0-degree winter night. But of all of those things, the worst part for me was the dreadful lighting. And how I remedied that, that's part 1 of this video. Let's go! I'm gonna go through 3 points rapid fire, okay? If you see me getting off track, you're gonna sneeze in my face, right? Deal? Number 1 is have many light sources. If you think you have enough lamps, get 9 more. In this room, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 15 lights. And here I have 7. This is what it looks like when I turn on just 2 or 3 very bright ones. So with each additional light, I'm adding layers of warmth and visual interest, and I'm able to highlight different features of the house, like the texture of this beautiful brushed concrete wall, or how these 2 lamps are reflected in these huge windows, or this one here that's just cheekily referencing the drawing behind it. Having a lot of lights everywhere allows me to have the room be sufficiently bright without ever having light shine directly on me. Like instead, the light is just bouncing off the walls, or in some cases more artistically against something sculptural like this, or this blank canvas that I made. And I think having lights in different layers of the space helps your brain appreciate the depth more. I'm not gonna go over landscape lighting, but I really do love how our deck lights look from the inside. We've slung these series lights on the trees going all the way around to the back of the backyard. It makes me feel like I'm in a cozy carnival, like in that one episode of Euphoria. Well, at least it used to be before my mortal enemy, a wood pecked, you know what? I'm gonna name it Fred. Fred pecked the wire at that point right there. So this connection was lost and I haven't yet gotten around to replacing it. Thanks a lot, Fred. We're adding that to the list of cons. But that feeling of swimming in a warm pool of light but never having the light pointed directly at me is so important to me. When a light shines directly over my head or in my face, I feel ill. I'm taken back to this night in college when the cops caught us sneaking into a pool, and I'm convinced part of why they let us go was because I looked so utterly terrified. But the thing is, I wasn't scared of them. I was scared of a spider that I had spotted a few feet from me. Right after we moved in, it became a matter of utmost priority to install these strip lights. Here, let me turn them on and then off so you can see the difference and you'll see why I had to do what I did. Okay, I'm gonna reenact it, but you have to imagine that I'm on a ladder, so I have a little more height. To pull this off, I needed this molding over here so that I could tuck the LED light inside and only have the diffused light come out. The molding comes in strips this wide, about like 10 feet maybe, and in order to get that first nail in to hold it in place, I needed to have like one hand for the hammer, one for the nail, and then something else to support on the side. Okay, so this was kind of my setup. It's a bit harder to do now because I'm no longer an expert. So this is holding it. I've got my arm with the traction and I'm going it like this. Bam, bam, bam. I hope you can see. Oh, where was your husband? He was traveling abroad for work. Doing what? I have no idea. I specifically chose that window to do this so that he wouldn't be around to force me to do things in the correct way, blabbering on about symmetry and safety and structural integrity and blah, blah, blah.
Really, you were supposed to stop me from getting derailed. Now, you must face the consequences.
Okay, number 2. Wait, no, sorry, I wasn't done with number 1. One more thing. So the only way that you could reasonably have this many lights and not devote your entire life to turning them on and off is with smart lighting. I think it's most useful for being able to set automation. My fingers have not touched a light switch for years and years, but still the vibes every single day are exactly how I like them. Okay, now actually number 2. Lighting should be varied and artistic. The quality of light that comes out from a strip behind molding is different from what comes through paper mache with embedded pressed flowers, which is different from light that comes through a baguette that you carve out and coat in resin and stuff LEDs into. And that's different from a row of glass blocks capped by LEDs stuck to an old shelf. And that is different from a mysterious floating triangle that has no bulbs or wires. And that in turn is different from this real kite that is being hit by a secret black light or a Lego Pixar lamp souped up with an LED. So all of that to say that, like you'll see when we get downstairs and get to crafting, that with lamps, I really like to think outside of the box. Or should I say, inside of the shade. This is my favorite creation ever. It's an empty lampshade that I thrifted and hung from the ceiling with a clear nylon thread. And down here, I can't look down or I will lose my sight. There's a spotlight that throws light up directly into the shade. And then I made these resin coasters and these colored gels to be able to play light DJ. Just look at how cool it looks when you're entering the house. And look at it from outside. And look during the day. Oh my god, and at night when its reflection joins the party. This lamp is a real hit when kids come over. And by kids, I mean our friends in their 30s and 40s.
Stacks on stacks, racks on racks. Moonwalk to the money like a Mike Jack. Yes, I'm faded. People dilated, but the man.
Okay, and finally, number 3. This one might be contentious, but please keep in mind that there are people who do much worse, like Fred. I keep all the lights on during the day, and also I never turn them off when I'm leaving a room. I always used to wonder, like, why do I like my space at night, but I feel like it looks drab during the day? And it's because lighting isn't just about illumination, it also balances the color temperature. During sunrise or in the evening during golden hour, you might love the way your home looks because the sun is at an angle that allows the light directly inside. But during most of the day, except for those 2 magical windows, when the sun is high up and there's no direct light entering your house, it might not feel dark because there's still plenty of ambient light, but the insides of the house might feel a bit gray or cold. Like there's a mismatch in color temperature that's making the inside of your house look dreary in comparison. So to my eye, it doesn't look unnatural when the lights are on full blast inside on a bright day. It actually looks more natural to me because I don't have the stark contrast of cold shadedness in my foreground and then toasty warmth just outside of reach outside the window. And I keep the bulbs pretty warm even during the day. I'm not even gonna get started with those disgusting, heinous bulbs with the daylight label. I asked an electrician friend to help me calculate how much more wasteful it is. You know, I cannot do that calc myself. I don't really dabble in trigonometry and other such evil things. With these energy efficient LED bulbs, it comes out to a daily additional 3 kilowatt hours. Quads. 3 quads. I think it's roughly equivalent to running like a window AC unit for a couple hours a day, which I'm immune to needing to do even in the deepest armpit of the summer. You'll see why in the next section. Onwards and downwards. I'm currently inside of what is going to be the first lamp. This house has 4 fireplaces. That is 4 fireplaces more than I'm accustomed to as someone who grew up in Kenya. One of them is too small, so it's currently Maeve's dining table. Twins! This one is storage. We did use the main one upstairs quite a lot during this winter thanks to this. Wait, I'll show you. We have this amazing shed full of wood that we cut up using this huge pile of logs we found abandoned in the backyard. I need to light a fire for the next lamp we're going to be making. It's a long story. It'll all make sense in due time. But for now, let's just collect some firewood while we're here.
I was so lost back then, but with a little help from my friends.
The lighting in this shed right now is inspiring me to share a part of my lore that is my best fact in Two Truths and a Lie. And the story is ultimately about a very cool lighting hack, so I rate it R for relevant. Okay, so right when I moved to the US, to Southern California, one of the coolest things my mom let me do was to audition for a casting call to be an extra in a music video. But this wasn't any old music video. This was for the Cup song from Pitch Perfect. And I didn't go feral just because Pitch Perfect was such a phenomenon at the time. This song in particular, and getting to meet Anna Kendrick, was a peak life experience for a homesick teenager who had made her entire identity choir and a cappella. I was obsessed with the hit NBC a cappella competition, The Sing Off, and you could not find a cover by Pentatonics of which I didn't have all 5 parts memorized. I remember deciding to just adopt this creative respelling of my name on the call sheet, driving to get to the set before sunrise for this insanely early call time, and not getting back home until well past midnight. But the crazy thing is, like, from 6 a.m. till the evening, I was just looking around like a meerkat, like, where's my Anna? Where's my Anna? Because I didn't realize that we were going to spend all the daylight hours, just us extras, learning and drilling down the choreography. So nightfall rolls around and we're all at our places on the set, ready to start shooting. And the production team stops everything to give us a really somber, stern talking to, saying that for the next few hours, under no circumstances were we allowed to step out of the building because, well, it was now dark outside, but the video is of a scene washed in like soft morning light. The film crew needs to be able to control the lighting very finely for this entire 4-hour shoot, and the sun is famously terrible at taking feedback. So instead they waited till night, and in the back parking lot facing the diner, they drove up this huge lorry along the entire side of which were plastered these huge billboard-sized floodlights. So the reason we weren't allowed to step outside is because if we did, we would break our eyes. So if you go watch the video now, you'll hopefully be impressed by how convincing all the lighting is, knowing that it's all artificial. It was such a cool experience, and I did end up getting to talk to Anna because the bar where I was seated had a stool on the inside that she would perch on during downtime. She told me it was her idea to put this painting of a mountain and river and to time it so that the camera pans to the painting the exact moment that her lyrics go, it's got mountains, it's got rivers, it's got sights to give me shivers. So yeah, even though I ended up in the video just as a tiny pixel, I did get what I wanted out of it. It gave me such appreciation for how much work goes into even such a short production. There were well over 100 people on set that day for like 17 consecutive hours. The crazy inventive lighting scheme. The fact that the director made this guy Kevin, who was sitting next to me, take a bite of the sandwich like 20 times. They kept bringing him new sandwiches. I wonder if he's ever eaten a sandwich again since that day. I mean, even I on this wee YouTube channel am braving a very scary bee standing over there just to get this background. Actually, it's getting kind of angry. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Calling all fire experts arsonists. What do you think? Pretty bad, huh? Oh shit, the damper! Not gonna get me again. One more second. Wow, there is just nothing as cozy as a fire. I mean, it is 81 degrees outside. But listen, you're fine. The environment is fine because we don't have air conditioning. I'm not fine, but I will because my sister-in-law gave me the ultimate hack for cooling down instantly. Okay, go into your kitchen, grab a tomato. If this is your first time and maybe take it in a couple of bites, I'm a seasoned professional.
I was quite unwell.
My face is already freezing. We'll give it 5 more minutes, full body chills. Happy to help.
I found the light in the sun, I let the air.
So these glass blocks are gonna fill up the face of the fireplace and then be lit up with LEDs from inside. I have two ideas I wanna play with. So one is to create a kind of like pyramid so that it kind of maybe even looks like a fire. And the benefit of this one is that I think it'll be fewer blocks and I can take the blocks out more easily if I ever need to use the fireplace for storage. And then the more sleek and cool one, I feel, would fill this entire opening just like flush with the wall.
But we'll need more blocks.
I'm trying to pick out the best blocks. Well, the least moldy. I was more concerned with giving Maeve a spa day than with getting them squeaky. I kind of feel like I'm at the market slapping watermelons to figure out which is the ripest. Except no, it's different because whenever I do that, I'm pretending that I know what I'm looking for. And honestly, no offense, I think everyone is.
At first, when I see you cry,
As you can see, it is deeply upsetting that this cannot fit here. The fireplace is just about an inch too short. Now, I would be lying if I said that I did not consider
Taking out my oscillating tool and shaving the top of the fireplace.
should I let the fickle structure of a 70-year-old house
Get in the way of my vision?
Yes, I should let it. I should let it get in the way. Maybe actually what we want is just a half fireplace lamp. And I think if I do that, I don't even need to put any adhesive. These are sitting on quite stably, and I just don't want to touch the stick. I'm either willing to commit fully, put on the respirator, start grinding brick, or just place these without glue. I can't do the middle.
yeah, it makes me smile, makes me smile.
Okay, let's move on to the next lamp. We'll turn on all the lights together at the end for the drama of it. But first, I'm realizing now that the reason the glass blocks didn't fit perfectly is because I forgot to do an egg sacrifice. That's a tradition I have on this channel to cover my bases for a successful crafting experience. If I feed my dog a perfectly crispy fried egg, since she has a direct line to whatever entity doles out good luck, she puts in a good word for me and then it's smooth sailing from there on out. If it would please the court, I actually recommend that if you're able, pause this video and go feed your dog a fried egg and you will instantly see results.
Hello, sunshine. Hello, blue skies. Hello, lovely day. Hello, sunshine. Hello, sky.
I wasn't planning to make this today, but I just got the most exquisite haircut and I feel the need to promenade. I made a terrarium for myself 5 years ago on my birthday and it was actually a surprising success. In the first few months, some worms grew in there and crawled around for a bit and I thought it was over for me. But then they died and decomposed and the plants continued to exist in there. I enjoyed that terrarium a lot, but then it got lost in the move. Wait, no, more candor. I was overstimulated during the move and I flung it into the dumpster and then I felt much better. But now I have flinging remorse and also I'm much older and wiser and I realized that I don't need to just use those ready-made fillable lamp bases. I can just get any old clear vase, pop some kind of a lid on, a lamp base, make a lampshade, and Bob's your terrarium. So let's start building. By now you've gleaned that this coal I collected is for the terrarium, but you'll be disappointed to learn that I actually don't know why this is done. I've just observed it in terrariums that I've seen out in the wild. I think we can reason from first principles though. As we all well know, charcoal comes from cha as in chatter, like idle talk. And coal is widely known to be a medieval misspelling of cool. So then it stands to reason that charcoal would originally have meant something like cool gossip or calm gossip. Right, so then it becomes kind of obvious why it goes at the bottom of a terrarium. It helps maintain the stability of the root's social atmosphere. It filters out the really toxic rumors. Maybe it sort of absorbs excess mess if the roots are stirring up a lot of drama. Great, glad we got that sorted. Now layer 2, you need some kind of a mesh to help keep the mud separate from the bottom of the terrarium. The word mesh actually comes from the Greek root no, I won't do that again. Pro tip, when your dog acts like a rabid monster about squirrels just innocently passing by your window. These photos were provided by Maeve's PR agents. At some point, you're gonna have to end up buying a huge roll of window mesh to make patches, and you save that huge roll and you use it for this. You also use it to cross-stitch said dog. Let me tell you about the deep research I did to select these plants. I went to the store and if it said ideal for terrariums, I put it in my cart. If it did not say ideal for terrariums, but I found it pretty, I also put it in my cart.
Hello, positivity. Surrounding everything I see. Hello, happy. Hello, free. Hello, you and hello, me.
Someone left a really kind comment on my last video encouraging me to show more of my creative process, and I fear what you're about to witness might make her regret that.
I came into this with no plan for the lampshade because I knew I could rely on my oldest and strongest skill, scavenging. I checked my Cave of Horrors number 1 and alas, no luck. Then I tried Cave of Horrors number 2 here, the most horrific of them all, and nothing stood out. Cave of Horrors number 3 also seemed barren in the lampshade department, and then I remembered I had a stack of these lovely beaded Kenyan placemats. They're so pretty, and I had hopes that the light would shine through really beautifully, but I felt lazy to figure out how to tie them into the right shape, so I gave up. As a keen watcher, you already know that not all is lost though, because you spotted in the Cave of Horrors number 2 what I missed the first time. Alas though, this black shade felt too small and made me worried that the neck of the terrarium would feel cold. I was dejected by another fail, but I should have clocked what you guys immediately noticed a minute ago. In cave number 3 was this lovely lampshade with a butter yellow glass globe, but it made me even more worried about a cold winter breeze on the back of the lamp's exposed neck. Now I was getting frustrated, but it's because I couldn't at the time appreciate the dramatic irony of this moment. You are always 10 steps ahead of me and could have easily pointed me to the obvious next step, which is to go back to cave number 2 and rescue these white lampshades. You'd also save me the annoyance of wiping the dust off by letting me know that these were actually 2 lampshades stacked. I quite loved the proportions of this, but I didn't love the plain plasticky look of the shade. At this point, I can almost hear you, my dear omniscient viewer, shouting at me the obvious. Go back to cave number 2 and grab a sanding sheet to remove some of the shine off this lamp. This was looking so much better to me, but years of training made my synapses fire in a very predictable way. I see a sanded surface, I start mixing resin. I kind of resent gravity for dragging the pattern down so much, but in the end, I'm thrilled to have a unique shade that has pattern in common with my oil spill rug and the resin medium in common with my cabinet mirrors. The terrarium is going to take a few days to find a balance in moisture. When I keep it closed and it gets very humid like this, it means there's too much water in the soil. I'll take the lid off and let it air out every day, then put it back on until the glass no longer gets foggy, but the plants also don't look limp. So eventually the water drains out of the soil, through the mesh, down to the bottom into the gaps in the charcoal, and then it evaporates back up into the soil as the soil needs it. This will make it so that there are never roots sitting in soggy mud, which can lead to root rot, and then that draining and evaporating cycle, if it works out just right, will give me this self-sustaining ecosystem that won't need much monitoring or intervention. We'll see how the light shines through in the dark at the end, but let's head back to Cave of Horrors number 4 to get started on the next lamp, my favorite.
The name for this lamp came to me even before the vision of it. I call it marble brittle. I don't know why I have so many marbles. I know for sure the last time I played with marbles was when I was 8, and my neighbor came to tell me that a stray dog had eaten my pet rabbit, which of course is what started my whole long con of getting a dog someday so that I could get a rabbit to eat it. No, I didn't mean you. I didn't mean you. I meant another dog. We sorted things out. Initially, it was going to be just marbles, but a few days ago, I hit the mother load of finds on Facebook Marketplace. There's a really sweet, beautiful, kind school teacher getting rid of her huge stash of stained glass. And look at how perfectly she organized and labeled everything. What an angel. I've wanted to start my mosaic project on the floor here for so long, but I've been having trouble salvaging enough materials to get a kickstart. And I think this lovely lady's stash is going to be the precipitating factor in this actually starting. And actually, it was on the same day that I picked up this batch of stained glass and the worm blocks from earlier. I won't say who was my favorite between the school teacher and Fred, but you can guess.
You know that I'm greedy for that. Why you give me fear?
I waited for the resin to thicken quite a bit before I started smearing because I wanted the brittle to have rough and sharp edges. As you can see, this can land you in quite a sticky situation. The process by which resin cures is exothermic, which is gobbledygook for it releases heat. As it releases heat, it cures faster. So you enter this positive feedback loop where it goes from liquid to solid, slowly, and then all at once. That's what's happening here and why these pieces are no longer smearable. The mixture is continuing to harden really quickly even once on the silicone mat. So I'm actually loving that it forces me to add the marbles and glass really fast if I want them to have a chance of being embedded in the resin. It doesn't give me time to obsess over the placement of the pieces, so I'm just flinging things at the mat like a witch throwing newt tails into a cauldron. The next morning, I grab the pieces while they're still a little bit flexible, and I'm gobsmacked by the results. My marble / stained glass brittle looks so delicious. I might just take another bite.
Greedy for that. You know that I'm greedy for that. 'Cause I'm
I was even less prepared for what to do with these pieces than I was with the lampshade, but inspired by your attention to detail, I checked Cave of Horrors number 1 and I found great options for installing an LED strip. These tracks attach to the wall with screws, and then they have a translucent covering that snaps over the LED to diffuse the light. I used this foul-smelling small resin kit to attach the brittle pieces to the strip. It's supposed to be fast curing, but not fast enough for my premium quality brand of impatience.
You come around here often?
So I bandaged the pieces with tape so they can hold them in place while it cures and gets permanently fused. That way it's not wasting my time when I have much more important and noble things to do, such as smearing this croissant with resin. I planned to let the top side cure overnight so that it would have a hard shell before step number 2. But then I got impatient again, and just a few minutes after setting it down, I turned it over and scooped out the insides and smeared them with resin. The truth is that I'm in a rush to move things along fast because I have so much more to show you, but we're getting to the point in this song where I'm gonna have to shut up because I cannot disrespect Ari like that by speaking over her singing. Do you remember that yellow globe you helped me find in cave number 3 earlier? I popped it over a plain bulb and base and I threw a beady coaster over it. And I also put a strip above the cabinet because it was easy. Since Fred gave me almost double the number of glass blocks I was expecting, I actually had plenty left over to make a little table over here. I used construction glue for this, but make no mistake, it is still very unstable. I grabbed an extra piece of flooring for the top and then experimented to find the best option for diffusing the light so that I couldn't see the line of the strip through the glass. I tried these lenticular sheets from a previous project, but they didn't make much of a difference. Then, a thin raspy voice beckoned me from the Cave of Horrors number 2. I brought over this awesome piece of foam that made a world of difference. I checked with a trusted source that this was okay to do. Atop the table, I put these 2 shadow boxes, which I talked about in a different video, and then I stuffed the croissant with an LED strip and added it to the collection. Okay, and finally, I thought I was all done, but then I realized that there was gonna be a shadow along the couch wall that would make me sad. But Ari's big moment in the song was coming up, and I was stressed to figure out a whole other lamp, so I fed Maeve another fried egg, and instantly I knew what to do. You know, friends, so often the most well-laid plans don't work for such small reasons, and it's much rarer that a really badly laid plan will work out really well against all odds. And that is the power of an egg sacrifice. That extra lampshade you helped me discover, how cool would it be to use it as a pendant light over this spot so I can see the 2 flower shapes like sisters? And wouldn't it be even more amazing if I could reference the couch wall somehow? But I had used every last bit of fabric I had for this couch wall. Or had I? Turns out I had a piece already cut out and fused from when I made this flower bag, but I'd forgotten that I had scrapped it as the front piece in order to make a more elaborate front. Tell me, what other than the divine fortune granted by an omnipotent being would grant me in the nth hour a piece of fabric already cut out in the perfect size and flower shape to be able to drape onto the shade like this? So now my terrarium lamp is talking to the rug and cabinet, and the pendant light is obviously referencing the couch wall, and everything feels perfect. In theory, if one could read a book, this would be the perfect nook to partake in such an activity. Ooh, the moment is imminent, so I'm gonna speed through wire management, which is very important and also very boring. And then it's time for the grande reveal.
You know I'm